Hello, Sula here from MistyHilltops.com. Thanks for stopping by. In this video, I'm working on a 3x4 accordion mini album that I am embellishing. So this is part 2. Basically, there's one part before this where I put together the album, and it's a tutorial kind of video. But here I'm starting to actually add the elements, and it's the first half of the book. So I'm starting with the flap, so it has kind of like a cover that wraps all around, and so there's that. This is the inside flap, and I'm adding a little magnet in there, and I had a bit of trouble to get it in the right place so that it actually sticks in the right place there, because once the book closes, I can't really ensure that it's in the right place, and the only way to do that in the end is for me worked with a tape. And then but then once it was all covered with paper and stuff, the magnet even didn't work all that well, but it still closes through the magnet, but I guess I should have used a bigger magnet or something. So anyway, here I'm putting down the magnet first. I'm putting it on the inside because I wanted to avoid having the cardstock in between the magnet, and then because there will be paper layers, and every layer that is between the two magnets just weakens the magnet from my experience. So I'm putting it on the inside so that it closes, and then I'm adding the second magnet there already, just so that it is it doesn't get lost. It just nicely sticks to the other magnet there. Once I'm putting down that page, that's when it becomes relevant for me to put that magnet there, which I'll be continuing later. For now, I am adding some more of the paper strips, and just embellishing it with a paper. It's a paper pad that is called Time Flies, and it is locally available. I'm not sure if it's an internationally available paper pad. I'm assuming not, but I really like it, and I think this is a masculine. It's for a masculine. It's for my dad, to show what I appreciate about him, and so I'm using that. I'm using a kind of a masculine theme there, and some of the papers are gorgeous for that. That one paper says "Man Cave," bro code strictly enforced. So I thought that was really great and works well. So I wanted to have that car in the front there. So because my dad is into cars and machinery and all that, so I'm adding a bunch of things there. But I don't want to go too much with what is going on the outside, because I don't want it to get all used up and stuff. So I'm just using the sides. I'm just gluing up the sides, and I will add more papers at the end once the album is done. I don't like when you keep working and the outside is all done, but then from lying on the desk and stuff gets onto the outside there. So I'm trying to avoid that. But anyway, here I can already put the sides on. This is for the one side, and then there's the other side of the book. So, and I said in the previous video, my glue bottle had kind of spilled into the cap, and there was a whole bunch of just a lot of glue in the cap there, and I didn't want it to just go dry in the cap, because then it's going to make it more difficult to close the cap and all that. And so I just decided to just pick up the glue with a toothpick there and use that. It takes a little longer, but it works just fine. So then the next thing that is happening here is I can start to actually add the papers that go on the inside. And I have this big piece it's a metal piece that says Machine Works, so it's just perfect for my dad, and it's pretty heavy. And I was still trying, I thought at first to put it on the outside of the album, but then I decided to put it on the top page because it's heavy, and it's going to press down all the other pages and make the album a little flatter which is just perfect for how it was. So that's what I ended up doing. But here I'm starting to decorate the first page there, and again on the back side would be that piece, a paper with that piece, and so I just skipped that, and I will do that last because it's also a bit of a bulky metal piece that is it's quite a bit bulky, and so to avoid working on a bulky page, I decided that will go last, and I will do the other pages first. So it's an accordion album or accordion-fold album, but you can still treat it like a normal book and even open it like a book, or just pull out parts of it. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm pulling just parts of the pages apart so that I can work on them flatly. Then I decided for this page I wanted to have three pockets. I think pockets are cute. I love pockets in mini albums, and so I wanted to use some tags. I had these file folder type inserts that I wanted to use for photos and stuff. So rather than covering up all the pretty papers with photos, or just having to print 3x4 size photos, I just decided I will put all the photos on some cardstock that will go on inserts into the pockets. And so that's how I'm dealing with it, so that I can still have the beautiful paper show very nicely. So I have a background layer there, and then on top of the pocket I have another piece of paper that will go there. And so here I am folding away some parts so that the book doesn't get too long and spread out. And so here I'm working on the next page, and I'm trying to decide, and I realized I had planned it out, but then I felt two of the very similar papers would just not make such nice sense. There would be not enough contrast if you opened it this way. It's actually in different pages, so I'm looking through my other pages there, but then I decided I'll just keep it there, even though the pocket has the same paper already. And I was trying to mix things up quite nicely around and spread out to have the same papers on different parts of the book, so that it's not just all the same. So here I'm starting again, I'm putting the background layer on, and it's basically the same with every page there. And then for this one, I have this little stamp that says, it's a book that says Dad's Life, and I watercolored it. I finally dared to watercolor with one of the stamp inks that I have, and discovered like it doesn't mess up my ink at all. So I'm very happy that I discovered that, and that I can just watercolor on the stamp and it doesn't do anything to the ink. So yeah, very happy about that. Then here comes the next page, and for this one I have a little brad that I want to use, and then these little gear pieces. These are die cut pieces that I organized for this album, and so I'm very happy to have them. And because it's a masculine album, I usually love to work with flowers and all that, but on this album I do use flowers, but very sparsely, and I try to really have it more with some more masculine pieces to decorate. So again, here so on each page actually I am putting a sentiment that explains what I appreciate about my dad, and then I'm adding more things. So here I'm just deciding I can just push the brad through the paper there and add it as a piece of an embellishment. I had to pay attention because there are two spots in the book that do not have a gusset, but where they are glued with the glue flaps. The glue flaps do not include a gusset, so there shouldn't be anything bulky on that part of the book. But for the most part, there can be small bulky things on the page, and the gusset makes up for it. So then here I have this page that I created. Basically, I ran a vellum paper through an embossing folder with this kind of pattern that looked industrial to me, but when I did it, when I ran it through, it looked more like a basket than industrial, but still it worked out fine. Another surprise was obviously because it's vellum paper, it breaks the paper when you run it through an embossing folder. So there was much less transparency left on the paper after I had run it through the embossing folder. And so, but I'm fine with it. It's just unexpected, but there's nothing wrong with things turning out unexpected. So here I'm going on, and that it creates a pocket, so I ran it through my sewing machine there, with the risk that the foot of the sewing machine would press down that part which was embossed, but it still worked out. And then I decided, instead of just gluing on the sentiment there for what I appreciate about my dad, I just put it in the pocket. So here I'm working on the next page, and this one has a little book plate that I have these super cute little brads that I also got for this album specifically, but I will be happy to use them on other pages as well. They look like, I don't even know what you call these things, not nails, but something like you see on ships and stuff. So it's just super cute. It looks like machine works, these brads. So, and then I got another set of brads that look like screws. I've had a small set of that for years and have used them, most of them up already. So I decided to get another set for that, and I'm just super happy with how this works out. It just looks like a work piece of just like from a workshop. So yeah, that makes me happy. So here I'm adding a coffee cup or mug that I stamped again, and then once again I watercolored it, and then I have my sentiment that goes there, because that page has about coffee, so I felt that worked well to have that coffee mug there. And my dad does drink some coffee, although I didn't comment on it in the book. So I'm ready for the next page, and again I'm trying to work with. I have another set of gears there, but I wanted to use these transparent gears so that you can see that pretty clock pattern paper there. And then again I have a little piece of embellishments going on there. So that is that piece here. So I'm just keeping it rather simple with just some gear piece, and then adding that sentiment there. And there was a bit, when I die cut this gear piece, there was a bit missing, but it worked out perfectly, because I just decided to have it just go off the page there, and so it didn't matter that there was part missing. And sometimes it's worth it not just throwing it out right away, which I was tempted to do, but just to see if there's another way that I could use it in the album. So now I'm moving on to the next page, and this one I can go ahead and glue the background paper right back on, because there's nothing that I need to pierce or in some ways staple or in any way, so I can just put everything straight on top. And here I have the sentiment, and then my dad does some local, he works in as a kind of a volunteer. He does a little radio program on the local radio station, and so I wanted to commemorate that with this, adding this little radio. I had just I used it I pulled a picture from Google, and then added it to a silhouette and traced it, and then I had it cut out, and so I hope it is recognizable as a radio. But if it doesn't, it doesn't matter really. And then there's this little tape measure that says "Endless Love," and so and then I have this page that is about work, and so I have this is from a Stampin' Up set that I also watercolored the ladder for, and then added a hammer. This is from a different set, I'm guessing now at this stage. I do mix things up with the products that I've been using. So anyway, here I'm adding the ladder to this background page there, trying to work with a pattern in the background, because there's this shade shifting in the center of the page there, and I'm trying to put that in the center of the ladder. And in hindsight, I realized I mixed up the sentiments with the following page, but they were both very similar, so it doesn't really matter but I would have done it, the plan had been to do it the opposite way. So here is the final page of, that is the back side of the cover of this album. And in my album, I had made it so that even this part of the page you can fold open, so that I can even use this last bit of the page there to decorate. And so it gives me extra pages there. And I have these little tools that I also traced in the silhouette, and then used my just watercolored them. So these are just traced, cut out on white cardstock, and then through watercoloring you get what it is. And I think it's nice. So anyways, this is this album done so far. I'm going to create another album with this, or a third part, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.